Hey, I'm Tiger Woods, and I got Fox Sports News in my bag.
Hi, welcome to This Week in NASCAR. Alan Bestwick here in our Charlotte studios. Over the next hour, we will visit with one of the brightest stars in the NASCAR Winston Cup circuit and one of its newest stars as well, and recap what happened on the racetrack over the past weekend. In our starting lineup on this evening's program, we will begin with a look at Sunday's Winston 500 from Talladega. Dale Jarrett picked up his third win of the season. Highlights in just a couple of minutes. Boris Said became the 13th different winner this season in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Highlights from Sears Point Sunday on the way. Jerry Nadeau will join us in a little while, making his way through a rookie season on the NASCAR Winston Cup circuit. He'll be live in our studios. Then we'll visit with Mark Martin, driver of the Valvoline Ford. Will talk with us about his stellar 1998 racing season. Later in the hour, a preview of the Pepsi 400 from Daytona this coming weekend, this time to be under the lights. Mark Martin will help us preview this weekend's NASCAR Winston Cup Series race. That comes up at the end of the hour. We start, though, with our weekly look at the headlines of NASCAR racing and begin with an update on Ernie Irvan. Ernie was released from a Birmingham, Alabama hospital early Monday evening. He was taken there after a vicious crash in the late stages of Sunday's Winston 500 at Talladega. Fortunately, no broken bones, no internal injuries. Ernie is out of the hospital, expected to be at Daytona this weekend, though as of our airtime, no status had been given as to whether or not he will be in the car or have a relief driver for the Pepsi 400. Michael Waltrip has a new ride for this next season. Michael was announced on Monday that he has been signed to the Matei Motorsports car. He'll replace Jeff Bodine in the Phillips Communications Ford starting in 1999. Waltrip and the Wood brothers agreed to go their separate ways after the end of this season. Waltrip will replace Jeff Bodine in that machine. Jeff now looking for work for the coming year. And one other bit of silly season news, Wally Dallenbach has been signed by Hendrick Motorsports to drive the Budweiser Chevy for the 1999 season. Dallenbach first hooked up with that team as a fill-in driver for Ricky Craven when he was out injured earlier this season. Now Dallenbach with the ride full-time and through the 1999 season as well. So those are some of the headlines of the week in NASCAR racing. We'll make a quick pit stop here on This Week in NASCAR. Come back and jump right into highlights from the weekend. It's Dale Jarrett's win in the Winston 500 up next when we come back.
This Week in NASCAR is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. At Napa, we keep America running. And by Die Hard, saluting race fans everywhere. Die Hard, what's under your hood?
All right, you got the list on you?
Yeah, I got the list right here.
We're going to Napa. It's the best place for parts.
Fine. You know what? If I ran Napa, here's what I would do. I would widen the aisles a little bit. I would put a brand new sign so it'd make things easy to find.
Okay.
And I'd have a state-of-the-art computer system to be able to find those parts like that.
Okay, but you've got to admit you can't beat Napa for the knowledge. I mean, they carry more parts than anybody.
I agree.
Oh, you agree for a change?
Yes, for a change. All I'm saying is they should fix the stores up a little. Wow. Now I could live with this.
At a standstill, it might be compared to other sport bikes. At top end, it might be compared to other sport bikes. But at each and every mile per hour in between, comparisons become insignificant specks in the mirrors. The TL1000R, the only one of its kind on the track, from Suzuki.
There is a sport as American as the automobile. It's a sport that never went on strike. And when its players want more money, well, they just get out and race for it. For these reasons and a million others, millions love it like no other. The Die Hard battery salutes the Die Hard race fans everywhere, as dependable and true as the name itself.
Welcome back to This Week in NASCAR. Time for our race reviews. We begin with the NASCAR Winston Cup Series and Sunday's Winston 500 from Talladega, Alabama. Ken Schrader and Bobby Labonte claimed the front row spots in qualifying. They led the field to the start, but the lead wasn't the place to be early on. Both Schrader and Dale Jarrett got shuffled back into the pack after each led just one lap. Jeff Gordon would be out in front most of the first 50 laps. Just as Terry Labonte, and some others were going to come to pit road at lap 53, though, there were problems on the racetrack that would cause a little bit of a scramble. Dick Trickle got bumped and spun as the leaders came in for their first stops. That brought out the caution, but actually Gordon and Labonte's teams and others got them back out onto the racetrack without losing a lap, and they actually held the lead. They wouldn't be so lucky when the second set of stops rolled around, though. After Gordon and Labonte pit at lap 108, Dave Marcus runs over something on the racetrack and cuts down a left front tire. He'll scatter debris around the racetrack as he limps back to pit road. There you see some of the metal hanging and eventually coming off the Realtree Chevy. And that puts out the caution, catching Gordon, Labonte, Sterling Marlin, and others on the tail end of the lead lap. Now the big mess of the day. Ernie Irvan gets tapped by Sterling Marlin about 20 laps after the pit stops into the outside wall. Then as he comes back down through traffic, gets clobbered by Dick Trickle. Then Mark Martin gets collected in it. Ernie, okay, as we told you earlier, after spending the night in the hospital, but he is done for the day, and Mark Martin's championship hopes take a serious bend. Now to the late laps, about 8 cars in the lead group, all fighting for the win. Bobby Labonte 3 wide around Mike Skinner and Jimmy Spencer. Jeff Gordon moves around Labonte for second, but Gordon can't get by Dale Jarrett. He leads the final 13 laps to score his 3rd win of the '98 season and win the Winston Noble $5 million bonus on Sunday. Dale Jarrett winning the Winston 500. As we look at the finish order, the win was especially big for Jarrett after finishes of 42nd and 24th. In the last 2 races, 36th to 4th for Jimmy Spencer in a Thunderbird. Mike Skinner led the most laps on Sunday, but got shuffled back in the draft in the wild last few laps and wound up finishing in 7th spot. Dave Marcus gets a season-best 12th despite having the left front fender torn up that we showed you earlier. And who you don't see in the top 20 is Mark Martin. He finishes 34th, putting a serious crimp in his hopes for the Winston Cup Championship. Well, Dale Jarrett was pretty pleased to get his first win at Talladega.
The win here, I think, is what's special. This is a racetrack that I think that every driver wants to win at. You realize how difficult it is to win. You have to have a great race car, and I had that, but you also have to do all the right things towards the end of the race to ensure that you're going to get into victory lane. I'd come close, just couldn't quite get here, and now it's the day that we are able to do that, and feels great.
This right here is going to turn our season around. We've pretty much, as far as the championship, our hopes are pretty dim there, but we want to try to fight back and finish second. Mark had a little bad luck today, and maybe we can keep running like we're running right here and make a few points.
Dale Jarrett's awesome. Todd Parrott, his crew, great combination. Our engine guys have worked awful hard.
All right, let's check the Napa leaderboard now. In the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship standings after Talladega, Jeff Gordon's lead goes from 174 to 288 points with 4 races to go. So even if Mark leads the most laps and wins all 4 remaining races, Gordon can clinch the title by finishing 16th or better. But if he has a week at Daytona like Mark had at Talladega, you never know. Dale Jarrett still a long ways back despite his win Sunday, 534 points behind. Rusty Wallace still 4th. He had some debris pierce his radiator Sunday, ended up finishing 27th in the race. If Rusty looks over his shoulder, he'll see Jeff Burton closing fast. Jeff just 77 points behind Rusty now with 7 top 5s in the last 9 races. Jeremy Mayfield slips ahead of Bobby Labonte for 6th spot this week. Bobby's only 2 points behind Jeremy, though, and he'll be tough at Daytona. Bobby started on the front row for the last 3 restrictor plate races, and his 6th Sunday at Talladega was his worst finish of those 3. Dale Earnhardt stays 8th this week. And for a 4th straight week, Terry Labonte and John Andretti swap the 9th and 10th spots. Terry's 3rd place run Sunday, only his 5th top 5 finish of the season. When we come back, we'll take a look at Sunday's NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race at Sears Point. Boris Said was the winner. Highlights when we return. Here are the rest of the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship standings as we go to the break. Very tight to see who's going to get the final top 10 spot at season's end.
As a sponsor of the Fan Tour, the Money Store is offering a $500 cash rebate on home equity loans. It's the Money Store 500 rebate. It's a great way to get rid of bills and cut expenses. And now you can get an extra $500 cash when you get your loan from the Money Store. If you're a homeowner, call 1-800-LOAN-YES now and ask for the Money Store 500 rebate.
I won!
But only if you call the Money Store.
Which of these tires will stop faster? Actually, they stopped about the same. In almost any test you can think of, Toyo tires stand up against the best in the world.
The United States Naval Academy offers unique opportunities for academic, athletic, and leadership excellence. Here, young men and women learn to lead and accept responsibility with a comprehensive program that challenges them morally, mentally, and physically. Here, they strive for the highest ideals of integrity and professionalism. Here, they prepare for their future roles as officers and leaders in the Navy and Marine Corps. Midshipmen accept their commitment to the Naval Academy's highest priority, character development, and dedicate themselves to the core values of honor, courage, and commitment. These young men and women are the U.S. Naval Academy. Leadership and vision for the 21st century.
Welcome back to This Week in NASCAR. Sunday, it was the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series on the Sears Point Road Course north of San Francisco. The race was the Exide Kragen 151, and we take a look at highlights of it for you right now. Tom Hubert and Boris Said took front row spots in qualifying. That's Said on the left of your screen, making a move by Hubert at lap 9 to take over the top spot. Those two drivers would be the main players as far as the win was concerned. Big trouble for point leader Ron Hornaday. Broken axle will send him behind the wall for 5 laps, falling way behind in the race. He didn't have much of an advantage to start with coming in. He'll lose the point lead at day's end because even after they fixed the axle, they burned the rear end gear up in the Napa truck, and he would finish well down in the field. Now, his title rival, Jack Sprague, didn't have a clean day. He got the transmission stuck in gear at one point, made a pit stop for that. Then when he left pit road after getting that fixed, he had to come back in because he was speeding on pit road leaving. The stop-and-go penalty put Sprague 1 lap behind. While everyone else had planned a 2 pit stop race, Tom Hubert only stopped once here at the halfway point. So he comes in, gets 4 tires, come back out in shape to go the distance when everybody else was going to have to pit again. But with 22 to go, the left front brake locks up on Hubert's truck in fast turn 10 into the tire barrier. His chance to win and his race are over. Now to the frantic final laps, racing for spots in the top 7 or 8. Stacy Compton gets tagged and spun around. He'll end up finishing last on the lead lap. And while all that pushing and shoving is going on, Boris Said pulls away from the pack to a 6.5-second win. The accomplished road racer with his first NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series victory, driving the Irvin Simo Racing Ford. Boris Said wins Sunday at Sears Point. Couple of notes about Boris Said. He's won about everything there is to win in road racing. The Daytona 24 Hours, Sebring. Now he adds the Truck Series victory to his resume. And also, he does drive for Ernie Irvin. Had to go racing just after watching his boss get carted away from his Talladega crash. Must not have been very easy for Boris Said. Jack Sprague gets back on the lead lap by the time the race was over. He finishes 9th on the afternoon. Stacy Compton wound up 15th, the last truck on the lead lap after the spin we showed you. And that's the way they ran at Sears Point on Sunday. Championship standings now. Jack Sprague reclaims the lead from Ron Hornaday, but just 18 points separate those two drivers with 3 races to go. Joe Ruttman still a close third, 151 back. The rest of the top 10 all still very close together. The trucks race at the half-mile Mesa Marin Raceway in Bakersfield this coming Sunday afternoon. Up next, one of the Rookie of the Year contenders on the NASCAR Winston Cup circuit joins us, Jerry Nadeau, in our studio when This Week in NASCAR returns.
What does it take to be the #1 tire store in Kentucky? It's a local company doing business the right way since 1974. The most brand name tires and the guaranteed lowest price. As the largest Goodyear dealer in Kentucky, we can offer you the best price. For example, you can buy the Goodyear T-Metric for only $19. That's the drive-away price, no add-ons, no extras, nothing. Bring us any competitor's ad and we'll beat it on tires and service. S&S Tire, there's one near you.
An announcement from 100.7 WMMS.
As you know, the Buzzard has been part of Cleveland for 30 years. However, the time has come to say goodbye. So on November 1st, a new station will be on 100.7. Listen throughout the month of October as we relive some great WMMS memories. A tip of the Buzzard's wing to you. Our thanks for supporting 100.7 WMMS for the past 30 years.
He's in a pretty tight race for the NASCAR Winston Cup Rookie of the Year title after taking kind of a non-traditional route to stock car racing's top level. Now joining us, driver of the Cartoon Network Ford from Elling Racing, Jerry Nadeau. Appreciate you being here. How you doing?
Good to be here.
Thanks for coming by. Let's talk about your Talladega race Sunday to get us started. You went out just past halfway. What happened?
We had a motor problem. Just one of those deals. The car ran good all day long. I mean, the guys prepared the car well. They always run good on speedways, and we just had a situation where we broke I think it was a rock arm, which put us out for the day.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. Although I know it wasn't funny to you, but if you look at the finishing order of the 4 rookies that were in the race, 3 of them finished 41st, 2nd, and 3rd, and the other 35th. So I guess if you had to pull some bright news from the race, it's you didn't really lose any ground to anybody.
Yeah, right.
Your background. Where are you from, and how old are you, that kind of thing? You're a rookie, maybe some fans still trying to get introduced to you. Where are you from?
Well, I was basically born and raised in Danbury, Connecticut. My dad used to race modifieds up in New England. I started racing when I was 4 years old, racing go-karts. So basically made my move down to the south when I was about 17 years old. Right now I'm 28 years old. It took me a few years to get into Winston Cup racing, but this is where I've always wanted to go. You know, I've worked really hard to get here, and I had a good opportunity at the beginning of the year with Bill Elliott and Elliott Marino Motorsports. Now I'm with Mellon Racing, with Cartoon Network Car, and everything seems to be going really good.
Your background, as far as where you've raced getting to stock car racing's top level, is a little different than most. You've spent time in Europe, time racing open wheels, things that you've done prior to getting here.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at my resume, you'd probably think I'd either be going to IndyCar racing or Formula One. I mean, I spent many years, well, not many years, but I spent a lot of time in Europe racing Formula Opel cars. Ran the Barber Dodge Pro Series in the States. Did a lot of testing for Barry Green in Indy Lights cars. But my goal was always to go NASCAR racing. I think the biggest thing why I spent a lot of time in road racing is I've had opportunities to get my name out there, and I won a lot of races, and so that built my name, and I basically took the credentials from that and went to NASCAR racing, and here I am.
Once you decided to do this, which obviously you've just said was what you always wanted to do, how'd you go about getting here from there? Because actually you've been around the Winston Cup circuit for a couple of years now.
Well, I painted a lot of walls, I mowed a lot of lawns, I drove a lot of show cars around, to be honest. I mean, Tom Cotto was the first guy that I really got introduced in this whole deal. He put me to work and basically had me meet a lot of good people. And I just had the determination to do it. I mean, I went to all the racetracks, met Richard Jackson, spotted for Morgan Shepherd, did a couple of ARCA races, finished second my first ARCA race out. Congratulations to Adam Petty. He won his first race, first time out. But just basically just kept going at it. And then finally when I went to Michigan for my first Cup race, you know, here I am sitting second and third in practice sessions, first time out in the Cup car. So I know I can do it. It's just having to, you know, you've got to basically go out there and get the experience, get the respect from all the other Winston Cup drivers, and go from there.
How do you rate your rookie season so far? 3/4 of the way through it. How do you feel about it?
Well, it's been pretty tough. I mean, went through 2 teams already. But actually, you know, I feel like this is a year where when a new driver gets introduced to Winston Cup racing, is a year of learning, frustration. You have a lot of good times and bad times, but all in all, you just hope you can survive the year and then hope that you can capitalize that in the second year when you go out. So I'm hoping that we can end the good year on a good note with Melling Racing and Cartoon Network and have a good start for the 1999 season.
You mentioned you started off the season with the Elliott Marino team, and no, splitting up was not fun, and it never is, but how important was getting a ride to start with for you?
I think that's I mean, I didn't just want to take anything just to get my face out there, but I knew Melling Racing was a good team and a good car to run. You know, it was sad to see Lake Speed resign, but it was a good fortune for Jerry Nadeau to get into a good ride and, you know, keep racing the Winston Cup Series. You know, lately in the past 7-8 races, you know, we've qualified first round probably 80% of the times I've been in that number 9 car. So we know the car's good, we know the car's fast. If we can get all the you know, as of right now, it looks like Cartoon Network's going to be back for next year, 1999. We're looking for a good associate sponsor, and it looks like Jerry Nadeau may be in that 9 car next season, but we won't say anything yet.
Knocking on wood, right? Why have you and the Melling team developed this good rapport you seem to have? You and the crew, it looks like right from the start, have kind of hit it off.
It's a good team. I mean, me and Jeff Bice, we really get along real well, the crew chief. He knows... He's real good with working with me. He can kind of visualize and see and read my mind what I'm feeling in a race car. Mark Melling, who owns the team, is a young guy. You know, he's 28. He's my age. We get along real well. We feel like we've got a bright future ahead of us. It's just a matter of making sure that we get all the budget and finances and getting this team going where we can be there and be a threat week in, week out.
Jerry Nadeau is with us, driver of the Cartoon Network Ford for Melling Racing. We're going to take a break, come back, and continue our conversation in just a minute. Hope you'll stay with us. On the way to the break, here are the NASCAR Busch Series Championship standings as they head to St. Louis this weekend to run at Gateway International Raceway Saturday. 97 points between Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Matt Kenseth with 4 races to go.
At a standstill, it might be compared to other sport bikes. At top end, it might be compared to other sport bikes. But at each and every mile per hour in between, comparisons become insignificant specks in the mirrors. The TL1000R, the only one of its kind on the track, from Suzuki.
New CompuServe 4.0. Better, faster, easier. For those serious about Internet online, get new CompuServe 4.0. Call now.
For official motorcycle fan gear of top teams and riders from around the world, call Team Line for your free catalog. 1-800-378-TEAM. Or check us out on the web.
You've watched a lot of games. Isn't it about time you played one? I'm Bill Dwyer. Join me for the Ultimate Fan League. Weeknights at 5:30 and 12:30.
We're back!
Yes! What's the coolest show on TV? Cool Shots!
Ah! It's the hottest half hour on television as NHL Cool Shots once again takes you for a ride with hockey's brightest stars.
Pretty cool, huh? Yeah, baby.
Excuse me, you're interfering with my light?
Tune in to get up close and personal with the coolest athletes on Earth.
It's so cool!
Catch all the action on and off the ice. Friday at 4 on Fox Sports Ohio.
Welcome back to This Week in NASCAR, visiting with Jerry Nadeau, driver of the Cartoon Network Ford for Melling Racing. Mark Martin later on in the program. Jerry, you talked about the qualifying program for your team. Looking back through some numbers here, 2 top 10s in the last 6 races, and in the top 25, all but 1 of the last 6 qualifying. Why has the qualifying program picked up so well for you?
A lot of pressure on my back, but I think a lot of it is the car, the team. I mean, the guys are preparing the car real well. I mean, the bodies are great. The engines by Peter Gout are really good. it's just a matter of now. I'm going to the tracks for the second time of the season, so I'm getting a familiarization from the racetrack, and you know, it's been really good for me.
The Melling team compared to some of those you're trying to compete against, strengths, weaknesses, areas it needs to build.
Well, I mean, we're really looking at the future. I mean, we're already considering on building a new race shop for the race team. People are starting to knock on our doors a little bit more. I feel like I found a home for Jerry Nadeau, and I really feel like we've got a lot of potential for next season. It's just a matter of now is where we need to just get everything finalized and get ready for the 1999 season. I mean, it's been hard for me because I left from a team halfway through the season, and then it's been hard for Melling Racing because Lake Speed resigned halfway through the season. But we wish we almost would have met in the beginning of the season where we could have kind of went through our frustrations then, and then gradually built up, you know, the team and got everything set for next season. But it's one of those deals where you hit bumps in a career, and you know, I probably hit a bump in the middle of the season, but it probably was a good bump for me.
Your crew chief is Jeff Bice. He's not necessarily one of the more well-known names, but he's been around for a little while. Tell us something about him and why he's so good at what he does.
He's a good pusher, I can tell you that much. I mean, he's just a guy that he's so determined to win, and he's got that attitude that he's going to win a race. No matter if he's a single car team, no sponsor, no money, he's going to go win a race team. But we seem to hit it off real well because I've always been hungry in racing. You know, my dad brought me up where I didn't have the best of everything. I had to actually go out and work harder to beat that guy that I was racing against. And with Jeff Bice, he's got that same attitude. You know, we may not have the best engines, we may not have the best cars, we may not have the best driver, but we've got that confidence, and we're going to try to win it some way and somehow. And he just seems like he's got that expertise on giving me good race cars and setting them up right. And we've been qualifying good. And I mean, we had a really great run at Dover. You know, and we got caught up in a wreck late in the race. But it's one of those deals where we're going to learn this year, and hopefully we can capitalize that.
How important to you is winning Rookie of the Year, and where do you think your chances are with 4 races left?
It's going to be kind of tough. I mean, I haven't even thought about that. I mean, you know, you see Kenny Irwin pretty far ahead and Kevin LePage, but you never know. I mean, if those guys have really bad runs the rest of the season and we can get a couple, you know, a few top 10s, then we're back in the game. But as of right now, we're mainly looking at next season and trying to get the program going, and we're looking forward to, we know we're going to have some good runs. I mean, we know we're going to be competitive next season. It's just a matter of now where we can get everything done and go racing.
You mentioned before coming back to some of these racetracks the second time around this season. What's been the biggest difference in that for you?
Being able to see it and know where the groove's at in the racetrack. You know, it's interesting. My best run so far this year has been Dover, which is one of the hardest racetracks. I've never been at that place. That was the first time there, first time qualifying. We qualified in the top 10, ran in the top 10 all day long. So it's just interesting. I mean, if the team hits the setup right, if I hit the line right, we qualify good and we run good all day long, it's been a good day for us. But there's been situations where, you know, this season for a rookie, you know, you got to gain a lot of respect for those race car drivers out there. So I'm hoping if we can gain all the respect this year and have a good race, you know, race hard next season, hopefully they'll give us a little bit more respect as a rookie and have some good runs.
Appreciate you taking the time to come on over here. I know it's always a busy week for any kind of a NASCAR Winston Cup race driver. Have our Chase Authentics This Week in NASCAR shirt for you. And
all right.
Best of luck at Daytona this weekend. And thanks for coming by. Appreciate it. Jerry Nadeau with us, driver of the Cartoon Network Ford for Melling Racing. He'll be in the field when the green flag waves at Daytona Saturday on the Pepsi 400. A break. We come back and welcome our second guest of the hour. Mark Martin, driver of the Valvoline Ford, will join us live via satellite from Daytona when we come back.
I think in general the fans are probably more supportive of our sport than they are of any other sport out there, and the fact that the fans can have some access to the competitors, you know, on a regular basis, I think separates our sport from most sports. And you know, we have fans stop by our shop every day of the week, and sometimes I'm there and sometimes I'm not, and when I'm there I sign autographs and stuff for them, and it means a lot to them.
As a sponsor of the Fan Tour, the Money Store is offering a $500 cash rebate on home equity loans. It's the Money Store 500 rebate. It's a great way to get rid of bills and cut expenses, and now you can get an extra $500 cash when you get your loan from the Money Store. If you're a homeowner, call 1-800-LOAN-YES now and ask for the Money Store 500 rebate.
I won!
But only if you call the Money Store.
We assembled a group of German performance automobiles and drivers to show that Proxys high-performance tires from Toyo are some of the best in the world. Great looks, uncompromised performance. Their opinions.
Sehr gut. So good. So good.
Oh, yeah.
Proxys from Toyo. Uncompromised performance.
Hi, I'm Jerome Bettis, and when I'm not driving the bus, I'm watching Fox Sports News.
After a bold offseason move, essentially changing teams, he's having the best year of an already great career in 1998. Now joining us live from his home in Daytona Beach, Florida, is the driver of the Valvoline Ford, Mark Martin. And Mark, we appreciate your letting us haul our cameras and things into your house, and thanks for being with us.
It's my pleasure, Alan.
We scheduled these things pretty far out in advance, and I guess our timing could have been better. You kind of had a tough day on Sunday, didn't you?
Well, you know, some days just go that way, and I'm doing the best I can to accept it as, you know, just a bad day at the races, and sometimes, you know, they go that way. We've had a lot of really good days at the racetrack this year, and I'm real thankful for the success we've had and for the effort that we've had, and you know, I was a little bit sad when it turned out like it did, but you know, what are you going to do?
You were having a pretty solid race up to the point that you had the trouble. Did you have a car to have a top 5 or get a win with?
I don't think we had a car to win with, but we did have a car to get a top 5 with, and certainly a top 10, but the car was respectable. The draft is a great equalizer. It wasn't the best car, but it was a car that I could work with, and I think we were running 6th when the accident happened, and you know, we were in position to make a run, you know, toward the end there, and it just didn't work out.
So how do you approach the championship from here on out? You're 288 points behind with 4 races to go.
Same way as we approached it in February at Daytona. We go to every race and we race to score every point that we can and try to win. The way you score the most is lead the most laps and win the race. I mean, there's no more than you can do. No more you can do than that, and that's what we've tried to do everywhere we've been this year, and that's what we'll continue to do, because that's what, you know, makes our sponsors happy, and that's what makes our fans happy, and that's what makes us happy. So we'll be doing the same thing.
You've had such a great year this year, 7 wins already. If you're not able to win the championship, will the year then be a disappointment?
It won't be for me. It will be for some people. I'm not sure who those people are, but for me, I'm just grateful for the opportunity that I've had this year, for the race team I've had, for sponsors like Valvoline and Cummins and Eagle One and all the, you know, Bugles, Bosch. The Taurus has worked really well. My race team has been able to come out of the box and get a leg up on all the other Ford competition. by hard work and determination on this Taurus, and it's just been a great year. I feel 10 years younger than I did a year ago right now. I really do. I feel like that I haven't seen my best years in racing yet, and that's pretty exciting.
Let's look at some of your 1998 successes. We were just showing some highlights of your win at Bristol in the night race in August. You've won 7 races this year. Surprised at all that you've been able to win that much?
Yes, I'm very surprised. I don't know if I'll ever win another one. Through the experience I had in 96, I know now that every time you win could be, each time you win, that could be the last time you ever win, ever. And so I'm real grateful for the success that we've had. The team has surprised me. Being able to start from scratch in December and get the job done that they've gotten done is just incredible. And, I've been through a broad spectrum of emotions this year, and, it's been the greatest year of my life in some respects, and it's certainly been the most tragic year of my life as well, and disappointments in some ways. So I think that I've done well in weathering the storm. I think that the success has been sort of tempered by reality, and that I've done as good as I could to stand up against the things that I've had going against me as well, with the physical pain as well as the emotional pain that I've had to go through. So it's been a success, and I'm proud of what we've been able to do and how we've come through it all.
Let's talk about Las Vegas for just a minute. You mentioned to me in an interview that we did for a radio broadcast a couple of weeks ago that you thought the Las Vegas win back late in February was a real key to your success this season. Why?
Well, it was a brand new team, and I wouldn't allow the media to call it a new team because I was so afraid that we would fail, and then everybody would know how stupid that I am. By allowing this to all happen, to move championship contending race team to take the car and go to Mooresville with it, I was horrified by that. But it was something that I felt like would be better for me and better for the performance of the 6 car, and with Jeff Burton's help and Buddy Parrott, Jim Finnig put the guys together with Buddy and everything. We got the right people together, and it's more fun than ever for me to go to the racetrack because I believe these guys think a lot of me, and I know that when I do stupid things like run into the end of pit wall at Martinsville, that they're not talking stuff about me, when we ride down the road after it's all over with. I've managed to deliver some really exciting success to this young race team, and they've delivered me the best race cars I've ever driven.
Mark Martin is with us, driver of the Valvoline Ford. He is with us live from his home in Daytona Beach, Florida. We're going to take a quick break here, come back and continue our conversation with Mark in just a minute.
This Week in NASCAR is brought to you in part by The Money Store, where America goes for money. 1-800-LOAN-YES.
How come so many professional athletes wear copper bracelets? Hey, that's Chichi Rodriguez.
I think my energy band improves my golf game.
Now you too can have the Chichi Rodriguez Energy Band. It combines the power of copper with the harmonizing power of magnetics.
It really looks good, too.
The Energy Band is beautifully crafted from solid copper, then electroplated in genuine 24-karat gold with a stunning white gold accent. Patent-pending magnets make it truly unique, and it's designed to comfortably fit your wrist. Copper and magnetic bracelets sell in catalogs for up to $150 and more. But the Chichi Rodriguez Energy Band is yours for only $19.95. Order yours now while supplies last.
That's being a winner.
To order, use your credit card and call 1-800-559-4554. That's 1-800-559-4554. Or send check or money order to the address on your screen. Call and order right now.
Can't dunk, hit a heater, Or do the icky shuffle?
And we got a game for you.
The Ultimate Fan League.
The game show where you compete against guys from other Fox Sports Net regions. Join me, Bill Dwyer, for the Ultimate Fan League. Weeknights at 5:30 and 12:30.
Back on This Week in NASCAR, Alan Bestwick here in Charlotte. Mark Martin from Daytona Beach, Florida, where the Winston Cup cars will run the Pepsi 400 this weekend. Mark, you talked about the new Taurus and your team coming out of the box doing fairly well. How much did having the new car kind of complicate the process of setting up a new team over the winter?
Well, in one way it did complicate things, and another way it didn't, because we didn't have a lot of Thunderbirds that we had to turn around or cut off or whatever. We had to build everything from scratch, but we had to learn really fast. I mean, the opportunity was not there to get the cars built and track test them or wind tunnel test them before we started building cars in December, the beginning of December. I mean, we were just barely able to get these things done in time to get them to the track, and these guys worked unbelievable